So I'd like to welcome everybody. My name is James. I'm the MD of Hudaco Energy, and we'd like to say thank you very much for giving us 1 hour of your time on the first of our webinar sessions. This one for us is incredibly important because we are a official distributor of Sungrow for Southern Africa, and we're starting off with Sungrow because your inverters and your storage is the absolute integral part of making your PV and storage system work. So the process for today is quite simple. The first step in the process is we're going to introduce the companies to you. So we're going to say who are Sungrow, who are Hudaco Energy. We're then going to move on to the what are the products that we're offering, and then finally we're going to go to the how, and that'll be how do you order, how do you move online, how do you get training, how do you do all of those things. And then we're lucky enough to have some of the experts join us today to give us technical answers for a Q&A session and commercial answers if there are any commercial questions that we can deal with today. We may run out of time and we may not be able to get to all the questions. Please, if you do have questions, ask them. Even if we can't get to them today, we will save them all. We will come back to you either via mail, we'll phone you, or if it's a question for everybody, we'll put that out as a response to all of the participants today. With that said, I'd like to welcome Bertus from Sungrow to tell us a little bit more about the company. Bertus, over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this first webinar of Hudaco Energy. My name's Bertus. I'm the Channel Business Director for Africa for Sungrow, particularly looking after our channel partners. So let me take you through who we are and who is Sungrow. Okay, the presentation up here. So, okay, who's Sungrow? So Daniel, I think you can just slide through it for me. So Sungrow is the world's most bankable inverter brand. This has been reported by Bloomberg themselves. We're also the #1 supplier in finance projects. Currently, utility scale projects, 1 out of every 2 projects are being supplied by Sungrow in the utility space. Sungrow is also the first PV component manufacturer to sustain 100% bankability rate for 3 consecutive years. Daniel, you can next slide. Okay, so Sungrow, founded in 1997 by Professor Kao. In 2011, we listed the company in China. In 2018, we established our first factory outside of China in India, which is now sitting at about 10 gigawatt capacity on an annual basis. The end of 2019, we've exceeded 100 gigawatts of installed inverter capacity on a global scale. In 2020, we won the China Industry Award in China, and Sungrow's market value exceeded 100 billion RMB, which is the Chinese yuan. And last year, we were very privileged to be ranked first amongst China's top 500 ESG excellent enterprises. Next slide. Okay, so Sungrow, we're involved in several segments in renewable or in the clean power solutions industry, including obviously PV inverters where we started, energy storage systems, floating PV systems. We currently hold a 33% market share on a global scale with regards to this. With regards to project development, etc., we're only involved in the Asia region in this and not in the Africa market. Next slide. Okay, why Sungrow? Next slide. Okay, so Sungrow was the first inverter manufacturer to receive the WMT certification from TÜV Rheinland. So we've got our own test facilities that are certified by TÜV Rheinland in order for us to do our own testing. Next slide. Cool. For 2021, Sungrow we shipped a total of 47 gigawatts in inverters just for the 2021 period. That also enabled us to strengthen our #1 market share position in the world. Quite recently, we launched our new Oneplus X modular central inverter, as well as the SG320HX string inverter for utility scale projects. By now, we have the largest string inverter available in the utility space. If we take it down to kVA output production, we exceed the second competitor in the market by just over 100 kilowatts. Next slide. With regards to battery energy storage systems for the period of 2021, we've shipped just over 3 gigawatt hours, of which some of these actually came into the African market as well. Recently, we launched a new advanced liquid cooling energy storage system, but these are more for your utilities type scale projects. Next slide. We are the largest inverter. We've got the largest inverter factory in the world. We are present in 3 countries, China, India, and Thailand. 100% of Sungrow's inverters are manufactured by ourselves under our own brand. We also do OEM for 2 very big international brands out there as well. We've got a total capacity for energy storage systems for around 20 gigawatt hours that we can manufacture on an annual basis. Next slide. Cool. So Sungrow's got an extensive footprint around the globe. We are present on every single continent with offices on each continent as well. Our market share for total PV inverters for the 2021 period exceeded 30% globally. We are present in 150 countries with over 20 international subsidiaries. By the end of 2021, the installed capacity of Sungrow exceeded just over 224 gigawatts. Of which those 25 gigawatts, just over 75 gigawatts was string inverters alone. Next slide. Okay, just the Sungrow South Africa. Next slide. So we do have a sales office in Bryanston as well. Where our sales office is all our inverters, string inverters in South Africa are NRS certified, and all our inverters are on the City of Cape Town list. Next slide. Cool. Obviously, Sungrow in South Africa is 100% owned by Sungrow China. We're a subsidiary of Sungrow from China. Even that being said, we do have a level 4B certification as well. Next slide. Sungrow only entered into South Africa in November 2017. Over a 4-year period, we did grow extensively, and we managed to sell around just over 200 megawatts of inverters into South Africa for the 2021 period. Next slide. That being said, for South Africa in the CNI market for last year, we had a market share of about 40% in the CNI market for South Africa. Also, we've got 100% bankability rate by all the banks in South Africa as well for finance projects. Next slide. This is just a small list of utilities type projects of what we are supplying or have already supplied in Africa. We are growing rapidly in the Southern African market, with quite large projects being supplied at the moment of some, which are very, important to us, like the Heineken plant, where we are supplying our 250 kilowatt inverters into, which is currently under construction. We managed to commission 2 plants recently, which one is the Golamoti plant in Malawi, which is with string inverters as well, with a 5 megawatt, 10 megawatt hour battery solution. And we managed to commission that plant completely remotely by the team. It just shows you the capabilities that we do have, that we can do that. plants in Togo. Recent plants that's going in this year that we are supplying is going into Namibia as well. And we're just waiting for financial close on certain utility, reap, and mining projects at the moment in Southern Africa. Next slide. Sungrow as a company, we're the only OEM with its own direct service center in South Africa, and not relying on third parties or distributors in order to deal with RMAs and replacements, etc. We've got full test equipment that enables us that we can test all our string inverters with our own DC source that can supply up to 1,500 volt DC, as well as up to 40 amps in order to test inverters effectively, and we don't need to guess on what needs to be repaired. Our standard turnaround time for this is around 48 hours, but we do pride ourselves in keeping it much lower in order to ensure that our clients' plants do stay alive and not losing kilowatt hours. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to skip this one to go through the whole process for RMAs. Okay, so Sungrow, we do have support quite widely in Africa. The Northern African countries are obviously, they've been looked after by our Dubai office as they fall under the MENA region, but Southern Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa as most will know it, are being serviced out of South Africa, as well as some of our team members stationed in East Africa as well, looking after those utility plants and are able to be deployed very quickly if needed. Okay, next slide. Cool, that was me. Thank you so much.
My turn.
Yeah,
thank you, Bertus. All right, guys, I'm putting on my camera just for a second or two so you can see what my face looks like. A lot of you have met me, some of you haven't. I'll put it off now. So I'm going to quickly chat to you about Hudaco Industries. Deca Industries is our holding company. A lot of you guys haven't possibly heard of it, so I'll give you a quick overview of that. And then I'm going to dig a little bit into Hudaco Energy. James will dig deeper into market trends after me and a deep dive into products. So if we can have the first slide, please. So especially for our customers joining from north of South Africa, Sims and Zambia and that, they would have heard of J. Hubert Davies. So 1892, J. Hubert Davies, he recognized the incredible potential of the gold rush. He realized that a strong importation and distribution network could be tapped into, and from that, Hudaco was born. So just out of interest, Hudaco stands for Hubert, Who, Davies, Day, and Company, Hudaco. So that was formed just a little bit later, but the initial kickoff was 1892. Can I have the next slide, please? So guys, I'm joining you from Cape Town. The wind is howling here, but so I have every now and then a bit of a lag, but we look good. So here's Deca Industries. We are made up of approximately 32 business units within the group. We have a very large footprint in South Africa and in Southern Africa. So we have about 30,000 active customers, 32 businesses, about 3,800 people. On the right of the map, you guys can see our presence. So one of the beauties of being part of a large JSE listed group like this is that we have shared services. So we have the ability to deliver all our products within our shared services, within our groups, to most of the major towns and even some of the smaller towns in Southern Africa. We also have official offices in Zambia, Namibia, and Kenya. So just so you guys know, I'm sure some of the brands you've heard of, a lot of them, if you come from mining, you'll know more. But there's guys like VariSpeed. So VariSpeed are a strong variable speed drive manufacturer. There's KDAC. So KDAC is the newest kid on the block, the newest addition to Hudaco Group. So we all know KDAC. KDAC's part of our personal lives. They've been doing braai and cooking accessories for years. There's 3D agencies. 3D agencies are good on accessories. They do multimeters, cable marking kits, electrical tools, stuff like that. We have 3 battery companies in our group. So we have Deltec. Deltec are very, very strong on automotive. We have SBS, who do most of the batteries into the data center domain. And we also have Eternity Technologies, who do the forklift batteries. Another one is Bearings International. So you guys, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Bearings International. And LV. LV is a security group. They do Paradox and BMS systems. So yeah, and then in terms of turnover, 2019, the Hudaco group did 6.7 billion. 2020 hurt them just like it hurts all of us. So it went down a little bit 2020, but an incredible recovery. So 2021, 7.2 billion. So up on 2019, an incredibly strong group. Next slide, please. So who is Hudaco Energy? We are a value-added distributor that has grid tie systems for CNI. For the guys that don't know, so I've had to learn quite a few of the acronyms that are peculiar to our industry. CNI is commercial and industrial. We also supply hybrid solutions for CNI and residential. And we do storage solutions for CNI. You'll see a little bit later the actual products. Remember that you can just talk to us afterwards, give us a call. We can dig into the products if you need it. The products we do the inverters. So that's why we're here today with Sungrow. We do PV panels. We do the battery storage solutions from Sungrow. And through partners at the moment, we also offer mounting structures and balance of plant, for example, cable and stuff like that. Remember, we're part of a big group. Another company I didn't mention is PowerMite. So PowerMite are a big supplier of AC cable and stuff like that. Next slide, please. All right, so how do we do it? Our model is to provide a very, very accurate configuration tool. So the idea is, as an installer, as an EPC, as a consulting engineer, whatever you are, you can go onto our website, you can use our configurator, you can create a 85 to 90% accurate budget based on perfect conditions that you can use to give to your customer. Your customer can say, yes, I'm in, no, I'm not, and then the detailed design can be done. So our goal is not to do the detailed design, it's to give you a tool to get a very, very accurate budget figure that you can take to your customer to initiate a solar discussion. Next slide, please. Okay, my last slide. So just to summarize what we do. So again, we're a value-added distributor. So by saying that, we're not an installer, we're not an EPC, we're not a consulting engineer. So we partner with all those guys. We would like to bring value to them by holding the product. So we stock the product, we support the product, we support the warranty on the product, and we provide training on the product. So that's our role, a very, very clear, very defined role. So we focus on CNI residential, we support the products. And then the last point, utility scale is not our game. Utility scale is normally done directly with an OEM, so we do not participate. Although having said that, should there be failures at utility plants, warranty replacements, expansions, small scale expansions, then we do have a role, but it's not our primary focus. So that's us in a nutshell. I'm going to hand over to James now. Thank you, guys and girls.
Thanks very much, Sean. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Bertus, for the introduction. This first section was really, I think, to deal with the question that we're often faced when chatting to customers at a group level. And they say, there's so much information out there, we don't know who to trust. We don't know what products are there. I get a 10-year warranty, what's it worth? Somebody designs for 20 years, is it even going to function? So I think it's very clear, especially for those people that are not familiar with Sungrow as a brand, that it's an incredibly strong brand. We spent 6 months looking before we even launched in terms of who to partner with, who do we select as a group that we believe we can add value to, and that will be there for the customers, and it's a great brand to carry. For those that aren't familiar with Hudaco as a group, hopefully I think it's also opened your eyes to say, well, we're a listed company, we're strong enough, our balance sheet is incredibly strong, we're not going away anytime soon, and that when you're passing that message on to your clients, we're offering value to the customers, not just price. Now, let's move from the who to the what. What I want to do now is talk about market trends, and this will help drive the what and why we're here today. Next, please. So we start at global level. If we're looking at a global level, there are no signs of slowing down of PV production over the next decade, not in the least. In fact, we're seeing increase year on year on year. The largest markets globally, still China, India, North America, and Europe. We know that. South African market is still relatively small, but we are following a similar trend. There's also increasing pressure from the West to move away from fossil fuels. That's been highlighted even more lately by the current world events happening in Asia and Europe. And I've seen figures as early as 2027. People want to start moving very, very far away from oil. What that's going to do is drive an even higher demand for storage. It's going to drive even higher demand for PV and other clean sources of energy. Now, I did just mention storage. It's critical to note that the higher PV penetration goes hand in hand with storage. In addition to the storage costs capacity, capacity going up and costs coming down, it also allows new technologies and new solutions to be available, like mini grids, which we'll discuss a little bit later today. Next. From here, I want to bring it more to the South African market, and let's talk about what's happening at home. So we know that load shedding is going to continue, and I don't think anybody thinks it's going to get better, certainly not in the medium term at all. We have a long way to go. What that means is that our market is going to continue to grow, not only in the PV side, but the storage side, perhaps even more than the rest of the world. Self-consumption limit, we know last year was increased to 100 megawatts. So there are still rules that apply, but that simplified the process. And what that's done is it's meant that those clients that had to wait and had very, very long licensing processes, that whole process has been smoothed. It's allowed a whole group of EPCs to move up from doing the 1 megawatt type project, all of a sudden up to 10 megawatts, all of a sudden up to 20, 30 megawatts. It's created a vacuum underneath that for clients that were doing a 30 megawatt or 30 kilowatt, 20 kilowatt, whatever. Now all of a sudden to be doing 500 kilowatts, 1 megawatt type projects. And below that on the residential space, it's also created a vacuum there for those people to come in. So the market is growing, the number of installers are growing, but there's still so much room to grow. Municipalities are also tired of Eskom. Of course, every time there's load shedding, not that they only lose out on revenue, but their equipment is also taking a beating, right? Their transformers, their switchgear is not designed to be cycled 2 or 3 times daily, right? So the municipalities are also looking at procuring their own as well. And then for South Africa, we seem to be getting more and more and more requests, not just for PV anymore, but for PV integrated with storage, integrated with generators. So we're looking for flexible solutions that can operate both in an off-grid load shedding mode, but during times when there's no load shedding, to not have to go and spend more money to have a system where we can do arbitrage, peak shaving, and other on-grid applications, and we can actually generate a payback. So that's one of the trends that we're starting to see in South Africa more and more. It's not on the slide, but I do want to highlight the complaint we're having from a lot of the different people is they do a massive amount of custom engineering, especially on those multi-source solutions. And then the customer says no, right? And I think the OEMs are starting to feel it as well, where you spend hours and hours and days customizing everything only to have no. So what we've elected to do, and you'll see this is shown in the product selection, is to go with Lego type building block solutions, right? A modular approach to create solutions where you can quote your customer very fast. The amount of on-risk work you're going to have to do is reduced a lot more. Next. Okay, so let's talk about the products we have. I'm going to start off with a product that's not even available next. And let me rephrase. It is absolutely available, but it's not available for somebody wanting to do a 700 kilowatt or a 500 kilowatt project, right? This is the 250 kVA CX model. The reason it's not applicable to the smaller systems is that it's a 1500 volt DC system, right? So often your wiring code may not allow it, even though you can get permission to do that on a normal building. But it's actually designed for a larger ground mount system. But the biggest reason that it's not easily available is because your output is above 700. In fact, it's an 800 volt output, which means you have to be using transformers with this inverter range, okay? If you're doing a 5 megawatt project with your string inverters, this is the perfect product for you, okay? It is more cost effective. It is absolutely spectacular. It's reliable. Type 2 AC and DC surge protection built in. You've got your Q function at night, which is fantastic. However, talk to us about it. You can order it, but there's minimum order quantities, and you really need to be clever because your transformer station can actually end up costing more than the inverters. So you may want to save 30% on your inverter cost, but then you're actually going to add a lot to your overall project price. Okay, let's go to the products which are now much more applicable for a rooftop application, and this is the 400 volt PV inverter range. Next slide, please. In this range, we have the 33, the 50, and the 110 kVA unit, each with a different amount of MPPTs coming in. These are 1,000 volts on the DC side, which means you can absolutely install them. You don't have to worry about building code irregularities, as long as it's installed properly, obviously. And your AC output is 400 volts. You take these, you put them into an AC combiner with some protection, with some switchgear, and you feed straight into the building's reticulation. For Southern Africa, we only bring in the premium model. The difference between the base and the premium is we have type 1 and type 2 DC surge protection built in. That comes standard in the price. You do not have to go and add additional combiner boxes outside. In fact, you can run your modules and you can plug them straight into your MPPT inputs. Obviously, just make sure that you respect the voltage and the current restrictions on that. It is in fact a 1100 volt input, but we're bound to 1,000 volts locally. And on the current, you've got a 26 amp input per MPPT with a 40 amp short circuit. So you can run some really nice long strings, no DC combiner box, plug them straight in. You've got your type 1 and type 2 surge protection. Please, if you're on the high felt, type 1 is not even an option. Type 1 and 2, type 2 is not even an option. Type 1 and 2 is an absolute must, or you're going to be very sad later on. Of course, NRS certification, as Bertus had mentioned, not only on the 110, the 50s, the 33s also in place. Next, please. This unit is part of the new Hero range. These are the hybrid inverters. It's a 6 kVA single phase hybrid inverter, two 600 volt DC MPPT inputs built in, and a massive 13 kilowatt peak power input that you can put into this unit. That's absolutely fantastic. This unit can be installed with anywhere from 6.4 to about 19.2, let's call it 20 kilowatt hours of battery backup connectable. I'll talk a little bit more about the batteries in a moment for you, the high voltage lithium ion batteries. And you can parallel up to 2 units, so 12 kVA single phase together to run your plant. In the box for this unit, you also get a single phase power meter comes with it. Your Wi-Fi dongle comes with it, and your app is based on your phone. It's free to download, it's free to operate, and it's free for life. All your commissioning is done on the app for you, and all your viewing is done on the app for you. Not only is your 6 kVA and your 10 kVA 3-phase hybrid that I'm about to introduce to you fast to commission, but the batteries are just as fast to commission. From unpacking the boxes to mounting them on the wall to having the system commissioned, your entire installation time is under an hour, right? That excludes your PV panels and your mounting on the roof, but the batteries, the metering, and the inverter time. Absolutely spectacular, bulletproof, saving you time on site, saving you risk on site. And I'm going to talk about the DC connection in just a moment. That should hopefully open your eyes if you're not familiar with the product yet. This is a game changer for the market. Next, please. For those larger houses or for your small commercial buildings where your client's got a demand of less than 50 kVA, this is the 3-phase hybrid. Each one of these has got 2,000 volt MPPT inputs with 15 kilowatt peak that you can plug into it. It's high voltage, right? So up to 1,000 volts on those, which is absolutely great. You can run long strings. You've got type 2 surge protection inside as well on the DC side. Same for the single phase unit. And each one of these inverters can run between 9.6 and 25 kilowatt hours of storage. You can also put 4 of them in parallel. Basically, you could run anywhere from 9.6 to 100 kilowatt hours of storage through this inverter, and you can parallel up to 5 of them. So for a client, you may have a 30 kVA demand for a small office building, let's call it a home office. You might want to put, let's call it 50 kilowatt hours, 30 kVA on this to deal both with peaks and through a load shedding time. Very simple. You would do 2 stacks of batteries, 3 inverters side by side. And one of the questions which people often answer or often ask is, what happens if I've got unbalanced loads? Do I need to go and redesign the entire distribution board? Do I have to change everything? Do I have to balance it? The answer is no. For each unit, you've got 3.3 kVA per phase, and they can operate completely unbalanced. What I mean by that is you could have one operating at 3, you could have one operating at 1.5, and you could have a third phase operating at 0 load at all, right? If you've got 3 of them in parallel, you would have effectively 10 kVA per phase that you could run totally unbalanced. Okay, really, really, really neat piece of kit. Next, please. Okay, this is what the storage looks like. Now, this applies to both the 6 kVA single phase and to the 10 kVA 3 phase. 10 kVA 3 phase is called the 10RT, in other words, residential 3, and the 6 is the 6RS, residential single phase. This is the lithium ion battery pack. It's made up of little building blocks. Each one of those cells is a 3.2 kilowatt hour usable cell, which you can you stack on top of each other. I'm not sure if you saw in the video how quick and easy it was to stack. There's a bottom plate which comes. You put that on the ground. You then stack the exact number of cells that you want on top. On the side, you can maybe see on the right-hand side image there is your DC protection that arrives in the box for you. You screw that in. It clips in. You don't have to do any sort of crazy wiring inside there. It clips in. You screw it into position. And then you place your battery management system, your BMS, which is that top section, down on the top. Wire that up with a red 6mm cable, a black 6mm cable, because we're running at high voltage, right? So it's the same cable that you would use for your solar power or for your PV modules. You don't need any 25mm or anything else. It's just a 6mm cable and an earth cable. Those are the only cables you need to provide. And it's the only piece of hardware that you need to provide from your side between the batteries and your inverter. The comms cable is provided. The connector pieces are provided. And note that we have different connector pieces that connect your batteries to the inverter. That uses the SunClicks connector so that you don't cross those with your MC4s from your PV modules and get those mixed up. And that's all provided for you inside the package. And the commissioning process is so simple. On the top left of the BMS there, you'll see there's a little charge meter. Looks like a little battery with 10 little cells in it. And to the right of that is a little round circle. You hold your thumb over that for 3 seconds. The unit will fire up. It will auto commission with the inverter, and you are done. It's as simple as that. Again, an absolute game changer to make your life easy, make your clients happy. It looks good. It's easy to install. Each one of those cells weighs about 20-something kilos. In other words, one large guy can do it by himself. 2 small guys can carry them easily without any risk of issues. In most cases, one person could do this installation if they needed to by themselves. Okay. If you remember on the videos, you actually saw these installed outside. This, again, is another amazing, amazing option to give your clients. You probably won't want to install it outside, but you can. The batteries are IP55 rated and the inverters are IP65 rated. In fact, the large grid tie inverters are IP66 rated as well, but even your residential stuff is 65 rated. In other words, you can put it outside. If it gets wet from a hose pipe, no big problem. I wouldn't submerge it, but if it gets a little bit of rain or splash on it, you're good to go. Next, please. What we would recommend when selling is, and we built this configurator on our site. I'm not going to go through the details, but it's easy to have a client quote simply by selecting one of a few options. Is the client's property single phase or 3-phase? How much battery backup do they want? How much PV input do they want? And it'll spit out a bill of quantities with a price, and you can offer a kit to your client in just a few moments. Okay, let's skip this slide and the next slide again. Daniel will cover a little bit more about this in his presentation. Yeah, next one. And let's move right on to the hero of the day. This is the new commercial and industrial storage solution coming. It's made up of 2 or 3 parts. On the right-hand side of the image, you can see the PCS, the power conversion system. Inside there, you've got a 50 kVA hybrid inverter. You've got a 50 kVA transformer. You've got your EMS, your energy management system. You've got your HVAC control. You've got your protection for your AC circuits. And you've got HVAC and fire safety system. Each one of those battery cabinets on the left-hand side has got in it the batteries, it's got its battery protection, it's got HVAC, it's got your fire system included already, and it's got your mounting points so that all you do is with a forklift, by the way, no big crane needed on site, just a forklift. You drive this into position, you lower it down on a concrete plinth, which you can do outside. Of course, you can install it inside if you want to, so long as it can breathe, but these are actually designed for outside installation, so you don't have to take up clients' rooms. And again, high voltage battery up to 1200 volts on the DC side. So you're running small cables, one red, one black, between each battery cabinet and a PCS, and then you commission. There's a comms cable, by the way, that also runs between each for your communications. So your actual installation costs are negligible. The EMS comes already pre-programmed, so all you have to do on site is a little bit of commissioning, which in fact is just some final configuration rather than a full process. And you can bring that system online and start watching it. It is designed to operate seamlessly with the string inverters as well in an AC coupled mode. So in other words, you on your main AC box, you would have your energy storage system connected. You would also have your AC coupled PV system connected, and the EMS from Sungrow system will take control not only of the PV system, telling the inverters what to do, but it will also interface with the generator controller. If you have a generator controller on site, for example, Deep Sea, and it will take control of the entire site, as well as push all of that data through to iSolar Cloud, where you can view everything that's happening remotely. This product itself is absolutely spectacular, and let's talk about how we would build it. If we go to the next slide, we can see each building block is 50 kVA with a minimum storage size of 100 kilowatt hours going up to 260 kilowatt hours. And this operates in both on-grid and off-grid mode. So in other words, you don't have to add any new hardware to either provide backup power during load shedding or to do peak shaving or arbitrage. It's the same system. It just moves from off-grid mode to on-grid mode. This is important. In off-grid mode, we have a maximum of 6 units which we can put in parallel, 6 PCSs in parallel, which means we can create a grid of up to 300 kVA, battery storage from between 600 kilowatt hours and 1.5 megawatt hours on that. And operating in off-grid mode, however, we can actually go up to 20 PCSs. In other words, we could have a 1 MVA providing between, well, it's between 2 and 5 hours of storage on that. So between 2,000 and 5,200 kilowatt hours there. That's the sizing. I think let's go see if there's one more slide from my side before we head over to Daniel. Nope. So that's me. I think what we've really done is we've covered the majority of the market needs. Note that there might be some clients that are looking to say, we want bigger systems, really large storage systems. We want custom bespoke stuff. In that particular case, Bertus is on the call. You will speak directly to Bertus and he will offer you some of the larger, more utility scale solutions. Please bear in mind that he is overloaded with people wanting custom designs for everything. You know, every client that wants them, and the response time becomes very difficult. I talked to Bertus and he's working at 10 o'clock at night trying to get back to you guys. So please respect the fact that if your client is just, oh, by the way, is there that there's somebody on the other end that has to take the time and the effort to do that. It might be a better option to say, well, let's go with a smaller, quicker solution now. If we're in the price range, if you haven't fallen over and had a heart attack, let's discuss more. If you're smiling and happy and thumbs up and everything is great, then we can start working into it to reduce the amount of on-risk work for you. Okay, so thanks everybody. We'll deal a lot of Q&A on around these, I'm sure. But over to Daniel for the partner portal.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Daniel, and I'm the digital marketing head here at Deca Industries. So I'm going to take you guys through the partner portal today that we've made for you guys. So let's start off at the beginning with the register and login. So what you can do is you can find a button right here next to the logo on the website. You'll be able to log in there quickly and seamlessly with the remember me or lost your password. If you're a new user, you'll be able to register on this page that we navigate into now. You'll be please fill out all of these details as much as possible, because we have a sales and account executive that will contact you afterwards to ensure that all of these details are correct on the website. And once you've gotten approval, you'll get an email to show that your account has been activated, and you'll be able to access the back end of the system. So just to go and show you guys, I'm going to quickly log into the system. And please bear in mind, when you register, please use the primary account holder that you're going to use for the system. And the reason why we are asking you to do that is because we have developed this portal to handle sub-accounts. So you'll have one primary account, and then you'll have sub-accounts that can be listed underneath those accounts for staff members, for account members, all of those kind of guys that you would like to give access to the site and give certain permissions. We'll go through that a little bit later, but as we've logged in, we've landed on the My Account page where you'll be able to see your current group, your discount structure. We have blue, silver, and gold, and obviously that's dependent on your spend. So from here, you'll be able to access your orders, your downloads with all the data sheets and NRS certificates, your addresses, your purchase list. That's also a nice feature that we've brought into the system. I like to call them the project lists, your account details, sub-accounts, and logging out of the system. So just to take you guys quickly through a couple of the orders here. So I placed the order yesterday, and I can quickly easily order that again for the system, and with a click of the button, all of those products get added into your cart again. Now I've placed this order, and I would like to get all of the data sheets that's necessary. So all of the data sheets will be accessible on the actual order. You'll be able to download them from there. The data sheets are also listed on the actual product on the website, so you'll be able to easily find them on the products as well. We've also made a specialized download section where you can actually see all of your data sheets underneath each other for easy access. So onto the sub-accounts. Once your primary account has been activated, you'll be able to create a new sub-account, and you'll be able to list their username, an email address, and a password for them. You'll be able to fill out more information about the person that's inside of your company, and as well as set the permissions for the actual person that you are signing up. We are adding more permissions into the system, and if you have any other permissions that you would like to suggest to us, please feel free to email us or contact me directly, and we'll definitely see how we can add in those extra permissions for you. But it's a quick system to allow customers or staff members to essentially have orders, can place orders, view the accounts on orders, and also view all of the purchase lists on the system, just to make it seamless and more easier for your staff members to access the system. So onto the shopping system, you'll also be able to access the My Account page from the menu next to the button where you've logged in, and then your cart will be located with the little hand that's holding the quote for you. Once you click on that, you'll be able to see your whole shopping cart listed on the right-hand side. So going into the shop, our shop page lists all of our products on one page. As there more products come in, we'll be able to list them on one page, so you won't have to navigate through multiple pages. You'll be able to use the category navigation bar here at the top to filter out any specific products you would like to filter through and add into your basket. So I'm going to add a quick product into my basket, and also click into one of the products so you can actually add in more specific details to the actual cart and list all of these products in. So as you guys can see, we've listed quite a bit of detail on these products, which you can go through, and also some installation videos. As I said before, you'll be able to download the data sheets on this actual products from the actual product info page. So going from the product info page, I would like to showcase to you guys the purchase list or the project list, which is quite nice. So all you have to do is navigate to your shopping cart or your basket where you've added all of your products into your list. You'll see there's a button here at the bottom saying save as a purchase list. You'll be able to save this as a project or a certain size limit. So let's call this the 110 kVA. I know it's not 110, it's much more, but just for presentation purposes, I would like to showcase that to you guys. So now the project, the purchase list has been saved. Now I want to go and have a look at this purchase list. I'll be easily able to navigate to the purchase list where I can go in, I can view the list, and you'll be able to see which user actually created this purchase list on the system. So let's say a staff member created it, you'll be able to see which staff member created it. Going into the purchase list, you'll be able to make quick and fast changes to the actual purchase list, to update it, or to add it to the cart or delete it, essentially at the end of the day. So if your cart is completely empty, which mine is not, you'll be able to quickly click add to cart, and it will add all of these products into your cart system for quick, seamless checkout process. So one thing that I would just like to also showcase to you guys is the checkout process. The checkout process is very seamless. You don't have to, you can't edit or add any additional info into this section, because we've already gotten all of your information from the registered platform. So on the checkout process, it's very important that you also specify your shipping method that you would like for us to use. If you are going to ship to a custom address, a salesperson will be in contact with you just to make sure that we arrange the right shipping and also to the right places for you. So onto the payment method. If you are only looking for a quotation request, please click through on the quotation request. You can then, or you can click through on if you're a cash customer, you can click onto your invoice payment. The process of the order will only start once the payment is cleared into our bank account. And if you're an existing customer with us with a credit account, you'll be able to put in your purchase order number from here. You can easily just accept the terms and conditions for that order and place the order on the website. As soon as your order has been placed, it will be loaded into the actual order section, where you'll have a specified time to cancel the order or to move it through to processing. So guys, just on another note that I would like to showcase to you guys some of the nice features that we're building in. So the previous guys mentioned about a configurator that we're actually building into the system. And it's quite a seamless system, as you guys can see, where you'll be able to select your region. You'll be able to select your inverter that you are going to use on the system, how many inverters, and it will automatically calculate all of these details for you to make it quite seamless for you guys. So there is a couple of things that we still need to fix on this. There's about 4 fields that we need to fix on this. So this system is very close to going live. And as soon as you've completed all of these steps and you click on submit, it will automatically add all of these products into your cart, so you don't have to actually go and add them again at all. Another cool feature that we spoke about before is the easy kit builder, where you'll be able to actually take a certain inverter and put a battery pack on it and add it into your cart automatically from there on going forward. So that's the partner portal in a nutshell. If there's any other questions, please feel free to email me directly or quick support at Deca Energy for any other questions. We'll happily guide you through there. And please make sure that you check out our events page as well. We always update all of our events on the actual page, where we're going to showcase our roadshow, the webinars, and also online seminars that we've previously done and going forward as well. And thank you, guys.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for attending our training, and thanks to Daniel for the presentation. Right, our department in training and support is a very, very simple one. What we do is we do online and site-based trainings. So what happens is every first and third week of the month, we have got a certain topic that we choose. So we can choose to say, let's do the commissioning of a 10RT inverter or a CX inverter. All right, then we do that training online. We always send out those webinar links to our partners and those interested in attending them online. Or if for some reason, maybe you need us to come to your company or your premises, we can also do so every second and fourth week of the month. So you tell us exactly what topics you want us to cover, and then we arrange on the time and venue. Then we can come and train your team. All right, so with these trainings, the important thing is we know online is not always easy for you to ask all your questions and get a deeper understanding of these things. So that is why we have decided that let there be an opportunity for every organization to say, we want a site-based training so that you can actually have all the time and focus just on you. Okay, so we also offer support services. We've got on our website, we've got how-to videos, which give you some quick understanding of things. Let's say you're doing an installation or you run into a small problem, you can quickly refer to those how-to videos. And we also do, I think you've seen the configurator that Daniel was showing you there. That configurator is meant to make your work easier by just being able to click in a few minutes. You'll be able to see what kind of system you could have, how many panels, what size of inverter, and this, what will work and what won't work. All right, so it will give you a very good picture of how your system will look like before you actually purchase anything. Right, we also give you design ideas. We have so many people who come with different scenarios. Someone would say, I've got a generator. Someone would say, I've got an existing inverter, which is a grid-tied inverter, but we have a problem with load shedding. What do? We can just tell you, you need to install an AC coupled system, or this is what you can do in order to make sure that your system works very well. So we have got a wide range of areas that we cover. As long as you need support, this is our work. We will help you to make sure that everything goes well. So for example, we have some clients that are still new to the solar industry. They might have a client who is interested in something, but they don't know exactly what to give that client. So that is one of the areas where we come in to say, you need to say, what exactly are we trying to address for the client? Is it a load shedding problem? Is it a high bill problem, or is it both? Right? Then we can give you a solution that actually fits and suits what you want to do. So basically, that's it from the training and support. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Eden. We appreciate it. Now, I know everybody, we've reached the end of the time. However, we do have Ian with us. We've got some experts online as well. So what I propose is those who are willing to stick around a little bit longer, we'll have a Q&A session. Please, you're welcome to ask. I know that there have been some good questions already going and being tended to already. So if anybody has questions, you're welcome to put them right into the chat line. Alternatively, we can address some of them which were sent through ahead of time. Anybody with any questions?
I think most were answered mainly by Ian through the chat. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, James.
Great. Okay, I see there was a question from Kenneth just to say, where can we get the recording? Daniel, will we have a recording? Will we post it on our website, or will we send out a link? How can we address that?
So what we'll do is we'll upload it onto YouTube, and then we'll send out an email to all of the guys that have participated first, and then we'll send it out to the rest of the guys.
Fantastic. So thanks very much. Can I ask, if you don't mind, if there are multiple people sitting in a room listening, for example, and you want to be included on that, we may not have your acceptance, or you may not be showing up. Please, will you just forward your email address to your account manager or to Daniel, just to add you to that list? All right. Thank you, everybody. I wish you all an absolutely wonderful day. Oh, I see. Hang on. I see, Ian, I'm not sure if you want to answer that question quickly. There's been a question that has just come through from JP Buerta. Ian, are you still on?
Yeah, I am. I'm just trying to understand the question. So the so the inverter, I think it's a little bit of a tricky one because some homes only allow a certain amount on the main breaker. You can restrict, obviously, with the quantity of panels that the inverter only can put out a certain amount. And then, yes, you can stop export on the inverter too. I don't know if that answers the question. JP? Can we unmute JP there?
Yes, we can. Just give a second.
So your export can be limited by kilowatts, or it can be switched off totally.
On notified maximum demand of the house. Okay, so look, I think you're probably referring very much to what they do in Australia. Please bear in mind these products are rolled out all over Australia as well, and there I know they have limitations in terms of how much you can export there too. So yeah, you can limit. And Ian, you're saying on the 6 kilowatts, you can limit by kilowatts as well?
Yeah, you can limit by kilowatts percentage, or you can switch it off totally that it doesn't export at all. But I know that some homes, maybe City of Cape Town might be quite strict where they say, based on your main breaker, you can only put in a 3 kilowatt system. I would probably go around that by doing only 3 kilowatts of panels on the roof. So that would restrict the output or the maximum output anyway, and reserve the rest for charging up your batteries.
Yeah. While we're on that as well, one of the things I didn't discuss, and this is really, really important for South Africa.
Sorry. One other thing, there is a setting in the inverter where you can set active power. So you could set active power to say 50%, and then it'd only be a 3 kilowatt maximum output on active power. And yes, it is password protected in the sense that you would give the client access to the portal, but he would only have limited access. The actual installer would have a higher priority with being able to set certain settings. So yes, you can restrict the inverter to only output a certain amount.
Great. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. That brings me to the other point, which I didn't mention when we were talking about the batteries. Both the inverters do have the ability to set a limited state of charge limit that cannot be exceeded when cycling. So in other words, once you've installed your system, you could select, for example, 60% of your battery's energy cannot be used except in off-grid mode. So in other words, you can cycle the battery, you can use the battery for whatever you want, peak shaving or running through the night or using your own product self-consumption. However, you could always say, I want 40% or 50% or 60% or whatever it is saved for load shedding. Okay, that functionality is built in. You can turn it on and off straight from the app as well. And you can change the percentage straight from the app as well once you connect. Okay, that was a question that we had before. Okay, and then we call that controlling the state of charge of the batteries. All right, if there are no other questions, we want to say thank you to everybody. We really appreciate it. Thanks to the Sungrow team as well. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact your account manager at Hudaco. If there are utility scale questions, you can also let us know and we'll pass you straight through to Bastis to support you on those as well. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Wednesday, and I wish you all a successful week.